Yo, what's up guys, it's zaqq. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be showing you guys a very cheap Vexor, which I literally can't take credit for. It's not my fit, but we'll get into that in a sec. So a little bit of a backstory about how this came around. The last Besieged site I did, which is the low sec Besieged site, it was a cheap Tengu, and I know cheap, like sub 500 mil isn't cheap to some people, so Alexander was really kind enough to chuck us over this Vexor fit. So all credit Alexander there for giving us this fit to test and try. Had a bit of a back and forth in the comments there, as you can see. So yeah, really cool guy. Gave us the fit, so I thought, why not? Let's jump in, give it a try, and man, well, you can see it's actually tanking on the screen there, pretty nice. And yeah, I just thought I would cover this really quick. So we'll jump into the fit and then we'll scoot back into the footage and we'll show you how it goes. Alright, there she is guys. Man, it's been a while as well since I've just flown like a bog standard Vexor. It's pretty cool actually. So let's move on to the fit real quick, yeah. We'll give it a sim so you can see all the numbers. So like on the surface, it's literally just, there's no pimp mods or anything. Even the rigs are tech ones, so there is room for improvement. Obviously there is room to even go cheaper as well. It's not really cap stable, but I haven't got any implants in or whatever. I think if you put it in during Afterburner on, it is stable, but really like stability isn't really needed like whatsoever. A lot of the time you're going to be running the single rep, which does keep you obviously like super stable, right? But there is times where you need to stagger them both or like heat them a couple of times, which I did find. Depends on the spawn as well, because the initial and the second spawns can be just like pretty much anything. But yeah, so we've got a railgun on the top. Doesn't really do much but take the aggro away from your drones. What Alexander did recommend was let the enemy NPCs give you aggro first, so you can do that either with the gun or like being in range of their targeting systems. And then launch your drones, so they're just free to go pew pew the bad guys, right? So not a lot of damage. We do get decent range though, so again, that helps for pulling aggro. And it can be used like for other things, not just in this site. As you can see, there is a Relic Analyzer I scanner in there, so it is set up to do like multiple stuff. Prototype cloaking device, we're on low sec, so you know, getting away from gate camps and things, that can help a little bit. Tech 1 probe launcher, just in case we're doing the scanny stuff. Drone link augmenter, that gives you bonus range, I believe. Yeah, so we'll get 24 kilometers with my skills on that one, which is really handy because on this one we need to be orbiting quite wide out, like 50 to 70 kilometers, I would say. A couple of cap chargers, just a large compact cap battery, really nice as well. Damage control 2, couple of medium reppers, a couple of drone damage amps. And really, like, the overall damage, like, isn't great, but again, it's good enough for what this does. And the site took around, I think it was about 25 minutes. You'd have to have a check of the timestamps. So, the loot I did get, guys, was, where is it? Low sec. So this is what I pulled out of that site, which I kept separate. So it was about 25 minutes. We got, like, just under 26 mil. So I would call that, like, a mil a minute if you wanted to, like, break it down like that. So... and two of these sites, I mean, the ship's like paid for like 1.5 times over, so it's pretty cool. And again, like I say, there is room for improvements. I mean, the Ishtar like sort of thing would be really cool. Any of the hacks do these sites really nice. Not of course like Tengus and things if you want to spend a little bit more cash. But yeah, it all comes down to the time running and the ISK spent really. So the Tengu did it in about, I think it was 10 minutes, 13 minutes or something. And then this obviously did it in 25, like I said. But, you know, it depends on your skills, like how much ISK you got flying around. So yeah, just want to say, Alexander, thanks again, dude, for chucking us this fit. It's been really fun to use. And I hope other people get some use out of it as well. I'll have the link in the description too, if anyone wants to try it. But let's dive it back into the footage. Alright guys, we're going to warp into the site at 30 kilometers. You need to be within that for the actual NPCs to spawn, so you can't like warp in at like super mad range or whatnot and like be ultra safe. So the initial spawn, few battleships here, which, man, the battleships do a lot of damage. A lot of kinetic and thermal coming in from those guys, I believe. The dual rep, we staggered up the reps there. And one thing I did forget to mention, Alexander's fit did include some drugs. So I had an Overclocker, just an Overclocker 1, which gives you 3% speed. And the standard Exile booster, which gives you a decent amount of extra rep. I did end up taking them here, but I don't think I really needed them. I could have just heated like 1 rep and things like that. It doesn't really add too much to the cost of the ship. It's only like a couple of mil for both of those drugs. But if you're carrying a few around with you, because obviously they don't last forever, then we'll go just popping the drugs there. I think it would have been alright if I just heated one rep, you know, just like off-cycled them like that. But yeah, pretty good. So it was working really well. This is literally the first time I flew it. I've only done the one sight in it, so I haven't really tested all the spawns because you can get like some really spicy second spawns that come. It's all just RNG between the battleships and the cruisers that you get, like the Orthruses, right? So hopefully, obviously the worst ones to get all battleships, and man, I think the Vexor would struggle there. But again, if you use your heat a little bit, you can see I'm heating up a tiny little bit just to get fully repaired there. And remember, we're not really cap stable, so... But once one of the battleships was down, it was smooth sailing. We could just drop down to one single little rep. And it's just a case of sitting there, keeping an eye on local, checking your D-scan if you want to save your ship, you know, because it obviously is low sec, so you can get ganked here. But with this fit versus the Tengu, you're all a little bit safer really, because we're orbiting at such a bigger range where the Tengu is just like at 0, so you've got more chance of being caught in that, I would think, where you've got a bit of a chance to like warp off in the Vexor versus the Tengu. Alright, this is the first battleship from the first wave dead. We're just going to wait for the second spawn to come, and man, like at this point I was thinking I'm pretty much dead because it's pretty much all battleships. And man, these guys hit really hard, like I said earlier. Although I was really surprised we didn't struggle at all on the second wave. I think the first wave did more DPS, so I'm not sure if that's a mechanic of the site or whatever. But yeah, I was a little bit skeptical about the tank roundabout now. You can see I'm like fully rep, but I'm still running the 2 reps there. They weren't even chunking too much as well, so definitely mitigating a lot of that damage with the Afterburner. And even that 3% extra speed you get from the drug does help, guys. It mitigates like a tiny little bit, right? But it's definitely worth using. And yeah, just really impressed with the little Vexor here. It's super cheap, and even if you lose it, you've only got to do like what, one and a half sites of these to get all that ISK back. So in my opinion, totally worth running if that's what you kind of like. But yeah, op success pretty much. Just a bit of a slugfest really, again, versus the Tengu. I'm used to doing it in like 10 minutes or something, where this took almost half an hour. So the time thing for me, I mean, that's the only reason I wouldn't fly this. I mean, I've got access to the Tengu and everything, so it makes sense. But if you're a newer player, maybe you could do this to make a quick bit of ISK. But I think dead farming and stuff for newer players is like way better, a lot safer. Obviously, the initial farming can be pretty good. I was out with a new bro last night on stream. Took him out to his first dead, got his ship fitted up like min-max to do the initial farming and things, and we had a great time. And we actually got a double pith seed drop as well with the hardener and the passive hardener as well. So yeah, the guy was completely over the moon. 300 odd mil drop, nice little ship as well from me as a gift. So yeah, pretty fun. Again, I just want to say thanks to Alexander for chucking us this fit. It'll be down in the description, guys. Don't forget to check it out, and I will see you in the next one.